Hi everybody, Abby here. Today I wanted to troubleshoot the kettlebell clean and the kettlebell windmill. The kettlebell clean is a more beginner-friendly exercise. It's a great exercise to get the kettlebell from the floor to the rack position so that you can do something like the kettlebell military press. Or in this case, combining a basic exercise like the kettlebell clean and going into the kettlebell windmill, which is a little bit more advanced. First and foremost, let's troubleshoot the clean. Now, the clean can be a little difficult to learn. It really comes down to coordination and timing. A lot of people tend to have sloppy cleans, banging up their forearms, and they kind of give up on the cleans because it just becomes a very ugly movement for many people. First and foremost, make sure that your kettlebell one-arm swing is down, and then from there you transition to the clean. So with the one-arm swing, you want to make sure that you have all that hip power, that you're extending, that you're initiating your power from your hips, and that the arm is coming out to chest level with it relaxed. So you'll notice that when you do the one-arm swing, the arm is an extension of the body, and the kettlebell is an extension of the arm, elbow fully extended, but not a tight grip. Then you transition to the kettlebell clean when you do hike the kettlebell back, but as you come up, you're going to keep your elbow next to your body as opposed to coming out. So as the elbow stays close to you, you actually bring the kettlebell up the midline of the body. However, just like in the kettlebell one-arm swing, the arm is still relaxed. You're not gripping the kettlebell. You want to think of it more as a spear. And I learned that spear technique from Mark Refkin. He helped me a lot with the kettlebell clean. So you want to think about hiking the kettlebell back. Then as soon as the kettlebell swings back between the legs, you're going to feel your elbow hit your side. As the kettlebell comes up, you want to keep the elbow glued to your side. If you're having trouble with this, or if you're not sure if your elbow is coming away from you as you clean, take a magazine, place it underneath of your armpit, then practice the clean. You'll know if the kettlebell, the elbow is next to you or not, because that magazine will either stay there or it will fall. If it falls, you have to work on that elbow placement. If it's staying there, then maybe there's something else going on. So once you get the elbow by your side, you're spearing the kettlebell up. You're still using your hips, just like the swing, to bring the kettlebell up, but you're just redirecting the bell. And it comes down to this point, the timing of the hip and when the kettlebell comes to the rack position. So that's going to come down to practice, 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 practice. So you get that timing down where you're not going to feel that impact, and it's not going to feel like an arm curl coming up, but just kind of scooping it up and holding in the rack position. From the rack position, you can move into military presses, you can move into the windmill, which will be next. So to recap, when troubleshooting the kettlebell clean, you want to first look at your kettlebell one-arm swing, not the two-hand. How are you with the one-arm swing? Because that's what's going to be important. So practice the one-arm swings as demonstrated in my next clip. Alright, so now you've reviewed the kettlebell one-arm swing, maybe you've paused the video, you've taken some practice time with your kettlebell to review it. Now it's time to apply the technique tips that I showed you or talked to you about before, with the elbow staying close to your side and using that magazine if it's available to you. Practice that a few times to see what's going on with your kettlebell clean. Start fine-tuning that. And I guarantee for most people it tends to be either A, the elbow's coming too far out, so you're doing more of this, or B, you're over gripping, you're tensing the kettlebell way too much. Alright, so the next exercise that we're going to troubleshoot is a level 2 or more advanced kettlebell exercise that I don't recommend until you've either A, accomplished the Turkish get-up, or you've gone through all the proper training and you're experienced with kettlebells and you know your body, you know its limits. So if you're learning this at home, take it slow, and again, make sure you follow each step appropriately and use an appropriate size kettlebell. The kettlebell windmill, again, advanced movement. The kettlebell windmill is going to help with hip mobility, shoulder mobility, and what a lot of us like is the core. It's definitely a great rotational movement that's going to help to strengthen the midsection of the body and then the torso. But again, we may have limitations. We may have very tight hips. We may have some very tight shoulders. The Turkish get-up is a great exercise to start with first before moving on to the windmill. If you're at the windmill, then you want to start working on that diagonal hip hinge just like you would do with a kettlebell swing. Your hips are moving back and forward. With the windmill, the first thing you want to get outside of the foot placement of being about a 45-degree rotation of both feet, keeping the leg, so if you have your kettlebell up in your right arm, your right leg is going to be fully extended, heavy weight in the right leg, light weight in the left leg with a slight bend in that knee. From there, you're going to want to keep yourself underneath of that bell, so your hip is now going to move into a diagonal movement, okay? So versus forward and back as we see in the kettlebell swing, we're going to rotate the feet. We're going to lock this leg out, not hyperextending the knee, but just simply locking the leg, slight bend in the opposite leg. Our arm is here, all right? Then from here, we're going to actually start to, again, it's still going to be a hip hinge. We're not using our back, we're using our hips to initiate the movement. We're going to stick our hips back and over this right heel, and then we're going to begin to rotate the torso, being mindful of our limits, okay? So a lot of people, they may just get to that point and have to come back up again. It's going to be a progression, so be patient. Then you're going to start to rotate the torso, opening up that T-spine where a lot of us are tight. That's where we're going to start to feel that stretch sensation while we're strengthening the hip and the core coming up. So we're using that oblique here to support us in this movement. So you're going to feel a nice little tightness in the midsection. So just like the Turkish get-up, you're going to get mobility out of the exercise as well as core strengthening, and you're really kind of piecing together so it moves more as a unit versus opposite opposing kind of all over the place. So getting your body to move together and function together. So that's the goal of the windmill. So good luck.
Go.